Hi, and welcome back to the Triggered Newscast. Today's March 25th, 2019. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about Hillary Clinton. So, obviously, the left has been flipping out all day about the Mueller report. It's funny to watch them turn around and, just like they blamed old Lion James Comey, now Mueller's the bad guy and he's been an inside man the whole time. So, if you guys have been loving how that's been triggering the left lately, so have I. So now there's a lot of speculation, and I posted a video about this just a few days ago that Hillary Clinton just might announce a presidential run after the findings of the Mueller report are released, especially through the Attorney General William Barr. Now, the reason that there's a lot of evidence that she might run on the face, she hasn't actually said she would run, but she hasn't denied that she would. So she hasn't completely ruled out the campaign, and there is evidence that she may in fact run. So the first bit of evidence, which I'll link down in the description afterwards, but feel free to open up another browser, check it out for yourself right now. Do a quick Google search for Clinton for her Twitter, and you'll see that the very first post on top is a pretty well-known man saying that she should run for the 2020 election. So that's Fernand R. Amandi. And he posted that on March 19th. Hillary Clinton did not react, did not post. But it is interesting that she did post a meme on March 5th in reaction to Trump's statements that she would be sorely missed in the 2020 election. Now, where this all ties in with the Mueller report and Hillary Clinton, as everyone knows, Peter Strzok's girlfriend or alleged girlfriend, Lisa Page, and the DOJ investigation showing that there's thousands of missing emails between the two. Lisa Page's admission that they were ordered not to investigate the Clinton Foundation has been coming to light. So, with the conclusion of the Mueller report, with the nothing burger that was Russia collusion, that narrative that has been proven false, the Steele dossier, which has been proven false, the Clinton paid dossier, everything that Clinton has done to try and show that the Donald Trump campaign had collusion with Russia was just found to not be true. The liberals are still in shock. I'm still ecstatic, not necessarily that Trump was proven innocent, but just how much it triggered them. So if you guys are with me, I did make a Mueller meltdown. Feel free to share that. It's going to trigger some liberals. So, but back on topic, Hillary Clinton. Now, here's the logical string. The reason why I'm predicting she's going to run, besides her not denying it, besides the recent proclamations and her goading President Trump's saying that she shouldn't run, is I think it's going to be the most important thing she can do to shield herself from further prosecution. She's going to try and become a candidate again. She's going to try and claim that now, just like in the 2016 election campaign, that this is a politically motivated investigation. Although everyone knows that the Mueller investigation was 100% purely a political driven investigation. And we know with the DNC collusion, the Seth Rich incident, Donna Brazile, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the collusion against Bernie Sanders. Now, what we have going on in this election right now is Bernie Sanders from the start, who could have made a very viable third candidate, a third party candidate, decided from the get go this time to run under the Democratic ticket. Well, that says two things. That first off, even though he's pushing democratic socialism and really has tried to run on a platform as not being part of the two major parties, has caved into his followers and is now parroting the Democratic narrative. And when you look at what some of the major Democratic candidates, Beto, Camille Harris, Elizabeth Warren, these people are getting more and more radical. The spokespeople, the speakers of the House and Speaker of the Senate, uh, obviously they're going to crazy extremes. And I think that Hillary Clinton is going to become the rally point that brings all of the walkaway Democrats back to the traditional ideas of the Democratic Party. So not only did Hillary Clinton fail against Obama, which personally, small segue, I think she purposely wanted Obama to run. She had mentioned that he was a promising young senator, that he was going to be her most, contentious adversary in the campaign. He did turn out to be such. She really did a campaign to make him look bad, and in the end, he beat her. And I think she was going in thinking, white woman or black man. And I hate to say that, but I think that was her perspective, and that's my belief. I'm not substantiating that on evidence, but I think that she thought that she had that in the bag. That America and the way racial tension set, the way they racially set up for the beginning of that election, I think she thought strongly she was going to win that first presidency. When that didn't pan out, she immediately resigned from her senatorship and joined as Secretary of State. We all know about Benghazi. We know about her resignation. Most of the Democrats seem to have forgotten, still think that she's a highly successful, the most experienced candidate that the Democratic Party has ever seen. And people are already starting to parrot that narrative again in the media. So H.A. Goodman, I don't know if my subscribers or any of the listeners have heard of him. In the description, I'm going to have several articles of his that have also pointed to him thinking that Hillary Clinton's going to run. And some of those reports come from journalists with close ties to the Hillary Clinton campaign. So, what's important to understand here, again, I think that she's going to go in, want to use the election as a shield against prosecutory indictments and evidence that's following the Clinton Foundation because of the Lisa Page, the narrative where they told the DOJ, specifically the FBI specifically, not to investigate the emails relating to the Clinton Foundation. So what I think Clinton is hoping for is that all of the Democrats, most of the brainwashed liberals that just watch mainstream media, are going to say, no, you're trying to charge her of a crime that she's already been found innocent of. You're wasting your time. I'm sure many of you see those comments all over the internet. Well, in fact, as Lisa Page points out, this wasn't an investigation that was even carried out. So this will be the first time. This isn't double jeopardy. This is a new avenue of inquiry. There's plenty of evidence of her deleting those emails too. I think there's going to be plenty of evidence of pay for play. And I think that here soon, now that we've used the Mueller report to set the bar, to set the precedent for how much we can look into a political person, how much we can go sideways into their life, how many other people we can rope up, and how many different angles we can try and pin a predetermined crime onto a person. Well, I think they're actually going to go in and under William Barr, who's highly respected, has a great reputation for being fair and doing his job with the utmost reliance. So I think what we're going to see is they're going to do a very calm, very focused investigation. And what we're going to see is that the Clinton Foundation, that all of these Clinton scandals that were swept under the rug by Democratic pundits, by Obama administration officials, by FBI agents who had obvious bias, who were also in a relationship, and there was a lot of weird behavior going on between them. And so a lot of you might also realize that, as I mentioned a few moments ago, that Bernie Sanders is running in the Democratic Party this time. Well, you would think that he would stand the biggest chance in the Democratic ticket. That's not actually what we're seeing from the Democrats. We might be seeing that from the younger millennials. We might be seeing that from the traditional third-party voters who might actually vote Democrat, but we are seeing the wide walk-away movement. And I think that what Clinton's going to do, the same thing that they did in the last primary, which was undercut Bernie Sanders by fraud, election fraud, which is very funny. What the Mueller investigation was searching for was any evidence that an election was being tampered with, while we have very obvious evidence that Debbie Wasserman Schultz, that Donna Brazile, that Hillary Clinton, that the DNC, through the WikiLeaks emails, were integrally involved in election fraud and trying to influence, to change the voting outcomes in certain districts. People argue and speculate about election fraud. I haven't found an article yet, but I'll try and find one after the live cast that talks about some of the voting turnouts in the voting districts. I'm not sure how you can get more than 100% voter turnout. I don't know how deceased people vote. I don't know how people think when we're trying to lower the voting age to 16, to allow voterless ID, to allow everyone to basically vote out of the country, and we're going to try and turn around and say that an election was contaminated by Russian interference to influence the election when there's very obvious election rigging on the other side. So I think what we're going to see, instead of the Mueller type investigation, which was extremely thorough but was extremely biased and was looking for certain evidence that they didn't have any strong evidence was there to start with, the Steele dossier, as has been thrown through the news. So the liberals still freaking out right now, can't get their heads around anything rational. And that's why I truly believe we're going to see Hillary Clinton announce a run. And I think she's going to do that again, like I said, to hide herself from prosecution. It, I think she thinks that she's going to be the Democratic savior for this campaign. I mentioned why I think she went into the first election in 2008 against Obama and thought that she was going to win that one. Well, I think the same thing happened against Trump. And I think Trump has surprised the country. We're seeing even Democrats who are walking away. There's recent video evidence of Jon Stewart even saying that Donald Trump's doing a good job. We're seeing CNN, who for 2 years has constantly been hitting him, is having to come out and admit that he's innocent. They're having to come out and admit that they've been wrong. They've been having to come out and pay out a lot of lawsuits for all their false stories. And they've been called out so much for being fake news, and Donald Trump has been performing, that it's becoming too apparent even to brainwash Democrats. So I don't know how many of you follow Q. I'm not exactly an extreme aficionado of Q. I don't follow it to a letter, but even Q has also released information. Again, I'll give a shout out to Profane News. That's where I got this evidence. They lay it out very concisely, very quick. The videos are short, you can pause it, and they explain it for people like me and my wife who really don't follow the Q phenomenon. But I do know that a lot of people believe in it, and as I'm trying to report the news, not necessarily from my belief or my perspective always, I mean, today I'm giving an opinion on a live cast, I'm giving my predictions. I'm going to give you articles afterwards that kind of give evidence for these conclusions. I'm trying to string together some dots to convince you why I believe she's going to run. But for those who follow Q and believe in Q, and his latest drop, he has mentioned as such, drop 3187. So for those of you following Q, I would urge you to go back to the Q map or to go over to Profane News and check out one of their latest videos that talks about it. But Huber's Clinton Foundation investigation and Horowitz's FBI surveillance abuse report, these two investigations, which have been dragging their feet, which haven't been interviewing whistleblowers or key witnesses or really digging through any of these emails or the Clinton Foundation, as of yet, I think they've all been holding back to allow the Mueller report to come through. The Democrats drug their feet for 2 years, couldn't find evidence of so much of a Russian fart in America. And now what we're seeing is that investigation is going to be turned right around on Hillary Clinton. So again, to completely summarize the point of why I think there's strong evidence that Hillary Clinton's going to run, is I think she's going to undercut either cheat Bernie Sanders out again, or the way to envelop the rest of his millennials and his social democratic followers is to have him run as a VP on her ticket. I don't know if she's above the shame of running as a VP. I almost wouldn't be surprised if she enters the campaign as Bernie Sanders vice president. But I guarantee that either way, we're going to see her come up in this campaign. If it's not to campaign for herself, which I personally believe she will, I'm going to lay out that evidence, a string you can follow. I'm going to make a more concise content piece showing you some of these articles, some of this evidence that I'm following. But I just want you guys to think about that. And last thing I'm going to drop before I get off the live stream is just like the thumbnail of this video, I made some lawn signs. I thought it would be kind of hilarious, but I thought it would be really important to deter Hillary Clinton from running for president. So check those out. I threw those down in the description already, even though I'm going to add a more thorough description after this video post. The yard signs right now, it's not a very cost-effective way, but if I can wait till I get 50 or 100 orders, hopefully I can bring down the fee and maybe we can get them out for more like $15 or $10 per yard sign. But as I'm not going to put money into it to start off, that sign literally just says it's the Hillary Clinton 2020. It's even on her Twitter. It's her upper picture. Except I added in the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign font prison. And I think that we need to remind everyone. We need to trigger some liberals, but we need to primarily remind everyone that she is a criminal before she announces candidacy. We need to get the Horowitz investigation going before she announces her candidacy. We can't allow her to hide behind that political shield. So with that, I also just want to mention tomorrow night I'm going to give a Q&A session. I have some of you subscribers. I have some other people who want to maybe just ask some questions about some of the other content that I do on Ruth Bader Ginsburg, so maybe some of my abortion perspective, some of my thoughts on geopolitics. Again, this news channel is going to open up more than just my opinion, more than just my content pieces, more than me trying to just inform you of what's going on. There is the satire. I have to admit, the Hillary Clinton Momo video I made last night triggered me. Like, after I watched it again, I might even remove it because the Momo thing, it's just too soon, it's too creepy. And while Hillary Clinton has a lot of alleged conspiracies and a lot of the babies and the endochromosome and all the stuff that people talk about, the video kind of triggered me. It's kind of creepy, so I would almost urge you guys not to look at it unless you want to be creeped out. And other than that, there is one last thing I want to bring up before I let you go. Luckily, I've been talking with some other great content creators from several channels. Number one, Let's Be Frank. He has a pretty good channel. He's a Christian conservative guy. He talks about a lot of the same stuff and more and has different perspectives. He does a lot of good fundraising efforts for the St. Jude's. I've seen him do several things. There's a few other channels that I'm going to work directly with on a content piece with him that's going to go over all of the Democratic candidates and not to support them, but to inform both sides or everybody about any not conspiracies they're involved with, but their educational experience, their political experience, their policy positions, who they're being funded by, what they're about. And it's to break it down, not because I think that most conservatives worry about Trump losing the 2020 election, but I think that to make this content, it's just as important for the liberals to see who these wackos are. And again, I think that's going to be more evidence for how Hillary Clinton's going to come back. She's going to be the moderate savior Democrat. She's going to be the one that tries to bring all the walkaways back, and they're going to try and parrot the narrative that she won the last election's popular vote. They've been trying to campaign for the lower age. They've been trying to campaign to ruin the Electoral College. They've been playing Weekend at Bernie's with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So, you know, I don't mind the trolls. I love you guys. I hope you're having fun in there. I really appreciate those who stopped in. And worst case scenario, I'm not trying to push my products on you guys. I really don't care if you buy a yard sign or a sticker. But maybe what you should do is parrot this narrative, even if it's not by sharing this video. Look at some of the resources I provide right after the video is done. Think for yourself, read for yourself, listen to CNN, listen to Fox, listen to all the other fake news, listen to independent media, read some articles by probably propaganda pieces and independent journalists like H.A. Goodman that I quoted earlier in this live cast. So make up your own mind, be informed. You know, like me, a lot of people say Q is a conspiracy. A lot of people say that Ruth Bader Ginsburg being alive or dead is a conspiracy. But journalism is asking questions and seeking answers and saying everything that is a question, not often a question of the official story, but just a question for more information, a question to extend that official story, a way to find the truth. So hopefully everyone realizes that while some of my content might cover conspiracies, I'm not trying to propagate conspiracies. I'm trying to conclude them. I'm trying to find the information. I'm trying to compile the information. So a lot of the subscribers have suggested that I make another Ruth Bader Ginsburg documentary, and I break it down into a timeline. So Hopefully, over the next week, I can do that. But my next project's going to be with Let's Be Frank, Pinoid News, Atomic News. We're making those pieces about those Democratic candidates. I'm going to specifically focus on Camille Harris, and we're going to upload that channel on Let's Be Frank. So, more news to come about that. If you guys want to stop in tomorrow and into that Q&A, I'm going to try not to talk about anything, but just interact with the chat for once. Again, if you guys are stopping in for the first time, I know a lot of you are new subscribers. This is really only like my fifth or sixth live cast, so give me a break if I triggered you. Give me a break if I'm not exactly perfect. I never said I was. So this is the Triggered Newscast. Today was March 25th, 2019, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. God bless. God bless Donald Trump, and God bless America.